Welcome to Recovering Addict. And if you are here in the Infiniverse and you're up on top by those doors, come down here, gather around, have a seat down here, and let me tell you what we do. This is Recovering Addict. We are a show about recovery. We are here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. live, and then it's going to play on loop inside this room until next Sunday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I live in Utah, so everything I say is Mountain Time. You're just going to have to figure it out. If you're in Eastern Time, you're 2 hours ahead of me. If you're on the West Coast, you're an hour behind me.
Everybody's got that math face.
Everybody's got the math face. Where am I? And then if you're in the UK, you're 7 hours. If you're in France, you're 8 hours. If you're in Australia, you're like 14 hours ahead of us. So, figure it out. I'm LT. This is my wife, Felice. In this room, you'll be able to see what we are about. To each of the doors on the side, you'll be able to go to my store. And if you look behind you on the right hand, my right, your left, probably up there somewhere, there's a Discord. If you shoot through that door, you can join our community. We have a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week live stream. We have digital support. Anytime you need support and you need somebody to talk to, if you join our Discord, you can jump in there and you have immediate support no matter what. We call it recovery in your pocket. And if you join this Discord, you're going to be opened up to a huge community around the world of people who are trying to stay sober. Some people got a day clean. Some people got like 20 years clean. And we're all in there to help and love one another through this thing that we have, addiction. It is very difficult to quit, and you need a support group. And the hardest thing to do is to reach out and ask for help. And that's what we're here for. And that's what that Discord is designed to do. Every single day at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, a link is dropped in the Discord, and you're invited to a Zoom meeting. And the Zoom meeting is about recovery. And if you just need to spill and pour your heart out, ask for advice, or you just want to come in and be thankful and grateful and just talk about how amazing recovery is, that's what it's there for. We have audio book studies. We have just random live or random Zoom meetings that pop up because people need help. That Zoom link is designed to drop anywhere, anytime for anybody. Anybody can access it. Anybody can enter the Zoom. So just say, I need a meeting, or grab the link, drop it in the main chat yourself and say, join me in Zoom. I need to talk. And anybody can do that. And that's what it is designed for. In Utah, we have our local program, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We work out and we study relapse prevention. And that's basically Recovering Addict in a nutshell. And if you are in the Infiniverse, a shout out to you. Go down the rabbit holes, check us out, see what we got to offer. Our website's out there, and all kinds of other stuff. But we have a special guest tonight, and I'll bring him on here in just a second after Felice says hello to everybody in the chat.
Oh, well, hello, everybody. Let's see. Today we have Teeter
time
as number one, first in the chat. Good to see you, Michael. Who else we got? We got Jim Hartley. Welcome to the show.
What
up,
everyone?
Jim? I hope you're feeling blessed tonight. Dig deep, climb higher. I love you all. And welcome, Sheree. We love you from Australia.
Good day, mate.
Good to see you here. Jen Ray, what's up? Looking forward to this, as are we. Heidi in VR. Hi, Heidi in VR. Glad you're watching on the YouTube side today.
Shout out to everybody in the Infiniverse. Oh, look at them all. Hey, what up, everybody? Oh, yeah. Shout out.
We got Jenny Lynn. We got Crystal Greer. I hope you're having a better night, Crystal. I love you. Crystal is part of our local group out here in Utah.
Crystal is amazing.
Jamie Rose.
Jamie is amazing.
John V.
Hey, amazing. JV, what's up, brother?
And always a pleasure to see you, Marilyn.
Good to see you.
The purple M&M. Jeanette, I'm here.
Jeanette is killing it. I've been seeing her in Zoom meetings lately, and it's been so refreshing. I haven't seen her face for a while. She's definitely kicking Teeter's butt.
Can't wait for you guys to come and visit us and stay in our front yard.
What's up, Ken?
What's up, Deviate?
Deviate! What's up?
What's up?
Tell your girl I said what up. Let me yell at Link real quick.
Okay. I'm not where I should be. Where should you be? We do not know. And then Infiniverse, because it's pretty cool. Who else we got? We got. Sheree says Infiniverse is too advanced for me. Oh, don't worry about that. That's just gonna sit. That's all good.
Okay. We good? We ready to get on to our guest? I know everybody's excited to hear a good story.
Scott, welcome.
Scott, what's up, brother? Pray for us. Pray for us.
Welcome, Crystal's niece.
Oh, cool.
You should come to group with us. Invite her, Crystal. We'll be rude. Ken Ledford, welcome. Geesh, welcome.
What up,
Watching on
Geish?
YouTube. Don't have enough signal for Infiniverse tonight.
No worries.
that's
No
annoying.
worries. We're glad you're here.
Shout out Aubrey. We love her too. Part
Yo,
of our
yo,
local
yo.
group. She's amazing and kicking butt.
If you
What's up, Mo?
want to be like somebody in recovery, what does recovery look like? I pointed Aubrey.
Boom. Boom ski. I think that's everybody.
All right. Well, let's bring on our special guest tonight. His name is Jamie. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
How you doing, man? How you doing, everyone? Thanks for having me out this evening.
Thank you.
It's an honor to join the show, and thank you for that.
Heck yeah. Introduce yourself. Who are you? Like, why the heck are you on this show?
Well, I'm in the real world. My name is Jamie Danielovich. In the Infiniverse world, I'm Agent 10-01-Oculus. And
Cool,
we try to keep it as low key as possible in the Infiniverse. So basically, I'm now an author. So I guess I'll just get right into it. I'm an addict. My DOC, I'm not gonna shy away from it, was alcohol. Alcohol was my demon. Started drinking at a very young age. When I say young, by the age of 8 years old, I was already starting to experiment with alcohol. My parents, when I was young, they were the type that liked to have parties. So, a lot of get-togethers. Family members always drank alcohol around me. So it was always around me. I remember at a very young age, actually, as the age of probably 6 years old, before I would go to school, I'd wake up and I'd literally have to clean up the house, because there'd be beer bottles everywhere. And so before I go to school, I would clean up, put all the bottles away. My little brother at the time was a baby. He'd wake up. I'd put him in his high chair, give him his bottle of milk, and be out my way. So not only was I young, but I was also, that was, I guess, my early stages of becoming a very young parent, because I was taking care.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So
let me cut you off for just 2 seconds. I want to hit Ken real quick. He said that he was sober for over 3 months, but he messed up and drank. He says he's so disappointed in himself. And Ken, I just want to say to you, when you're working a recovery program, we talk about walking to a post office. You start walking to the post office, you get 2 blocks in, you slip and fall, get back up. You're still 2 blocks closer to the post office. Everything you've done in the past with that 3 months is valid. You just slipped up, you're up here, you're talking about it. So just keep pressing. I want you to know that our heart goes out to you. Our prayers go out to you. I know where you've been. Just shake it off and press forward. Don't let this become a relapse. If it's a lapse and you fell down, get up and keep pressing. So Jamie, you're young. You're taking care of your younger siblings. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I was just going with it. So I'm young, take care of my siblings. Again, I started at a young age, probably 8 years old, experimenting, trying alcohol. So again, it was always around me. Drugs were always around me too during the parties, but never got into drugs. I did try cigarettes at a young age. My parents used to smoke, so when they used to send me to the corner store, because back in the day you could buy cigarettes with a letter from your parents. So I go to the store with a letter, get the pack. I'd actually open the pack up, grab a couple of cigarettes for myself and give back the packs to my parents. They wouldn't know that I took any because, that's what alcohol, really does at parties. They just really didn't know. I'd give it to them, and they had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, 6 years old one time. I was like 6 going on 7, and same thing. Got some cigarettes. We went out to a field, smoking some cigarettes, lit the whole field on fire. Cops, fire department, all that whole mess.
Yeah, and when you think back at it now, it's like wow, like it's crazy, but it's like that was literally the beginning. I really think it was the beginning to the end. Like it's the beginning of the story, right? I mean, from then it became issues in school. at a young age, I was always being expelled from school for fighting with kids. I had a hard time in school with other people. I didn't get along with many people in school. When I hit the young teens, I was drinking more, into the drugs. So I was, doing the ecstasy, doing coke, um, doing weed, smoking hash. Obviously, I was drinking. That was my main DOC. Um, when I was basically between the ages of 15 to 18, uh, that's when I started to steal, basically, break and enters in commercial buildings, doing whatever I could to get the money to buy, to buy my DOC. Because back then I wasn't working, didn't want to work, and I know at some point I was actually too young to work, so I had to do what I had to do to get the money to to feed my addiction, and it basically stuck with me throughout my entire life. When I was between the ages of 20 to 25, I was working in the bar scene, mainly as a doorman. So I was doing a lot of security, got into many fights, ended up in prison, for a lot of those fights. In total, I spent up 5 years in prison total in my entire life over different periods of time. And again,
Wow.
it all, fell back on my DOC because a lot of times when I got arrested, I was drunk. I was, under the influence, not thinking straight, doing a lot of stupid stuff, and doing stupid stuff when you're drunk gets you into trouble.
Yeah.
And I never learned from it. When I was in jail, I used to say, okay, talking to myself, this is it. This is the last time. But as soon as I would get released, it wasn't even 24 hours before I was right back at it, breaking the law, stealing, doing whatever it took, to get my fix. Even when I was in prison, I knew some pretty interesting people. So even while I was in prison, I still managed to get my hands on on drugs, and not so much alcohol, but drugs weren't a problem. So what I did while I was in jail is sold a product in jail so I can make the money to support my habit while I was in prison. Um,
You know what I used to sell in jail?
so,
I was I was in jail for a year, and I got to how you can become a house mouse and clean the
Yeah.
pods, and then you kind of maybe
Yeah.
go up to serving the food. And
yeah,
I got to where this one guard would chuck his chew in the garbage can when
Yeah.
I was out there, and then we'd grab his chew out of the garbage can and we'd put it in the mop closet and let it dry out, and then
Yeah.
we'd get some papers and roll it up and sell cigarettes.
yeah, it's
It's disgusting.
disgusting, but it's amazing. It's amazing what the things that you'll think of while you're in there to make it work. Like again, like for your addiction, like whatever it takes, and you're in jail, you're locked up, minimal. You basically can't get your hands on a whole lot of stuff, but you still made it happen while you were in prison. It just blows my mind. Now being older, when I think back about how things were and what I did, to feed my addiction, it was, it's crazy when I think of it now. I just think like happy to be alive, absolutely. And as far as what really did it for me, I didn't mention this because it kind of went from my early stages to late 20s here. But when I was 12 years old, I was I was raped by my babysitter. My babysitter was a woman, a younger woman, probably 17, 18 years old. I was 10 years old at the time. So that happened. Um, Full on, sexual intercourse. I had no idea what was going on. I was 10 years old, basically, my parents had went out. Uh, as soon as they were gone, it basically went from cartoons to porn on the TV, and things happened. weeks went by. I had told my parents, and my parents actually never believed me. They told me I was basically making it up for attention. So
Oh man.
yeah, so I had to carry that my whole life, and I carried it with me. Spoke to counselors about it throughout my life, but every time I did, they'd always say, "Well, did you not ever share this with your parents?" And I'd be like, "Well, yeah, I told my parents, but they told me I was making it up." So I always thought, like, did I make it up? Like, I know it happened because it's always in mind even today, right? Even though I've it's in my past and I've let that go, but it's still there, right? I mean, I still know it happened and dealt with that, which is what really drove my addiction as I got older. Um,
It's
continued.
crazy, those kind of traumas from a young age. I think that stuff was planted in my mind as well. Like before I was 10, 7, 8, and it sears itself in
Yeah,
your mind and then causes all kinds of problems if it's not dealt with. And I didn't really realize how, like, even like when you get into a relationship, the jealousy and
yeah.
just the craziness that goes on and your adrenaline rushes, and then you're looking for that rush, and that's another addiction.
Absolutely. For me, it caused a lot of issues. Not too long after that happened to me, I had more problems in school, getting in a lot more fights. So my parents thought that basically I was crazy. At the time, I was living in Ottawa, and they had admitted me to the Royal Ottawa Hospital, which is a mental institution. Uh, for people who they think they're crazy. So I remember when I was young, I think I was 12 years old at this time, uh, being, put under all these different tests. I had all these wires and probes and all this stuff hooked up to me, checking out my brain waves and all this stuff. And honestly, I was a guinea pig. And then they were giving me medications, uh, yeah, like all kinds of stuff. And eventually my parents took me out of that program, but for about a year and a half, I was a guinea pig. So again, went from, sexual, being raped from my babysitter to, put into this. So for the longest time, as far as how I wasn't really, things weren't good for me for a long time. And I just, spiraled downhill, the prison stuff, the DOC. And as I got older, I've been, drank more, even though I was, they call it a functional alcoholic. So I could work, I could run my business, but I was still drinking all day long, and lots, right? Still functional, drank till I was sober. No matter how much I drank, I wasn't getting drunk. I just keep drinking. It was ridiculous.
I want to say hi to the people real quick that are watching you in the Infiniverse.
Hey, my peoples. Yeah, love it.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So, I mean, so it kind of just went like that. Like, I mean, it's been 15 months. Well, I can tell you exact because I've got my sober time here. So I am officially 429 days sober today.
Congrats.
So, yeah, that's awesome. So 420 days ago, I was in a position where I'll basically tell you exactly how I went from, not good to figuring it out that I had a serious problem and then admitted myself. So basically what happened is, I was obviously drinking every day. My everyday medicine for me was, drink 12 to 15 of the, Budweiser Kin cans. So I drank all, 12 to 15 of those. So I'd be done, work around 3, drink, 12 to 15 till about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And then from 8 o'clock till about midnight, I was into the red wine. So 4 hours of red wine, I was 2 bottles in, 15 cans. So for me, that was an everyday thing. And that was going on for a long time. I mean, I'm 26 years in as far as being an active addiction, 26 years straight. So how I put an end to it is basically one morning I woke up. I was in the bathroom. I was shaving, and my wife came around, and she was like, how you feeling today? And I was looking in the mirror, and I was like, I looked at her and I said, I got a serious fucking problem. I'm like I'm done. Like I feel I'm defeated, and I'm like, I look like shit. I was like, look at me. And on my face, I was just like, look at me. Right. And I was like disgusted, completely disgusted with myself. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna find myself a treatment center. I'm gonna admit myself. I'm gonna go for 30 days and see what happens. And my wife, I love her to death. She's always supported me, always there. She said, I'll support you in any way. While you're gone, I'll take care of your stuff because we own a business together. So, when I thought about having to go to treatment, there's a lot of things that had to be taken care of, which was one of the things that were, stopping me before, because I thought, how can I leave everything behind to go to treatment? Like my life, like it just, I was like, I can't do it. I got too many responsibilities. I'll just continue doing what I'll do and I'll figure it out. And I did. I figured it out. So it was a few days went by. It was getting bad. I was waking up in the morning. It was 6 a.m. That's when I'd wake up, and instead of grabbing a coffee, I was grabbing the beer, and this was new for me, right? And I recognized how new it was because I was like, I'm seriously drinking a beer at 6 in the morning. I was like I'm fucked. Like this is not good, right? Like this is not good. And so that went on for a few mornings, and then one morning my wife did it. She did it to me. Is I woke up and she asked me. She said, "Are you gonna have coffee this morning, or are you gonna have beer?" Again, she supported me, right? I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have a coffee. So I went upstairs. I'm half asleep. So I go up to the coffee machine, and there's not a coffee in there. My wife had put a beer can in the Keurig. Under the Keurig, there was a beer can there. So for me, that was very visual. So I looked at that beer in that coffee machine, and I was saying to myself, like, this is it. Like this is my life now. That did it to me. I grabbed the beer, I put it in the fridge. I made my coffee that day. I had my coffee, and within 24 hours from that, I went to treatment. My wife gathered up my belongings. I packed up my shit. I'm not gonna lie. While she drove me there, I filled up a large canister of red wine. I made sure I went there nice and drunk. Can't lie, I did that. I was because I knew that was it. Like I was really saying to myself, this is it. This is the last supper for me. It's the last drink. I went to treatment. I did my 30 days. The people were great at Thousand Islands Treatment Center in Mallory Town.
That's a lot of people's big thing is like, especially with like heroin addicts, especially. They're like, I'm going to go to treatment tomorrow. Everything's set up. Their parents are ready to take them. The treatment facility's ready to accept them. They're like, I'm going to go big one last time. And with a heroin addict, they end up dying, When I checked into detox, because I had to check into detox as well. I went there so drunk that she told me to like leave. So my dad took me to a hotel nearby and just rented a hotel and basically pushed me on the bed and was like, sleep until you sober up a little bit. Fleas brought me some food later on. And then I went back into the detox center. Yeah. You got to sober up eventually.
Well, yeah, you do. And it's good to do it in a place like that where they have a detox facility there. Because from what I learned at the center was definitely, if you've got that kind of addiction, they definitely recommend not to try to do it on your own alone. They highly recommend either going to a hospital, go to a center where there's nurses, where you've got people there to watch you at least for 48 hours. I was under a 48-hour watch in the room with cameras. The door was locked, basically like a prison. They had cameras on me, and the nurse would come in, take my blood pressure, that sort of thing. And within 48 hours, I was okay. And they said I was basically well enough to, go into general pop with the other people at the addiction center, and that's when it began for me. But it was a pretty serious thing. I can't lie. Those 48 hours in detox, nothing but shaky, cold sweats. Really didn't sleep. Toss and turn, cold, hot, cold. It was just, it was really, it was pretty scary. Again,
Detox.
it was scary, but I felt safe. Right,
Yeah.
I was in the center. I felt safe. I knew there was doctors there, so I think that helps a lot. So when
Sure.
it comes down to anybody thinking about going to rehab or going to a addiction rehabilitation center, all I can say is I highly recommend it. Um, Probably the best decision you'll ever make in your battle with addiction is to go to a treatment center and let them help you, and it works. And they, there's also a program when you leave the center. Similar, it's like a Zoom meeting. So every week, 7 days a week, 3 times a day, there's Zoom meetings with the center that I went to. So it's also basically we're also outpatients. So once we left that center, we can still communicate with the counselors, and the people that we met in there, and kind of like our family, right? And that's a good way of keeping support and help when I need it, right? I mean, if I need to talk to somebody, I just Zoom my counselor. That his name is James, who helped me a lot. He's the one who helped me express myself and open up and talk about all the issues that I had in my past to help me get through this this process of recovery. And so far so good.
Did you ever relapse after that? After this last time in detox in your treatment center?
No,
You were done.
I have not. I have not relapsed. I did suffer the pause, so the post-acute withdrawal. The pause. That's, that that was a tough one for me. I think it's actually maybe
Real quick, Kim.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did come across this live. I'm really glad you're here too, Ken, and Kim. We're going to hit on some of the comments you've made. They're very interesting comments that I want to come back to.
Yeah.
As soon as Jamie's kind of wrapped up his story, we're going to hit Discord questions, and then we're going to hit questions from here. So Kim, we're going to hit, talking about your son and the gel systems and stuff, because I agree with a lot of what you're talking about. So we'll hit on that here in just a second, so don't go away. So sorry about that, Jamie. Go ahead.
No worries. So where were we? So yeah, so I continue to speak with the counselors in my treatment center to help me in my way. While I was in treatment, I wrote my first book. So I'll get into this. So my first book is called To My DOC. So this book I wrote while I was in treatment. It's basically a breakup letter with my DOC. When I was in there, my counselor gave me some homework. He said, I want you to write a breakup letter to your addiction, your DOC. And I was like, okay, I'm not a writer, I'll do my best. So for about a week, I was, kind of brainstorming what to do. And this is actually an allegorical letter. Again, I'm not a writer. I'm not a poet. I actually didn't really do well in school in English, but I ended up writing an allegorical letter, and I was asked to read it at the treatment center. And there was about 40 of us in there. We had our circle in the morning for our meeting. So they asked me if I was comfortable reading it. So I did. And after I read the book to the group, everybody praised me. I was getting hugs. Some of us were crying. Everybody was hugging each other. It was something. It was unbelievable. And many of the people are like, Jamie, they're like, you should really do something with your writing. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a writer. They said, yeah, but if this is the kind of stuff you're writing, you might be able to, help some people out. Maybe, you could, make some changes in the world. And I was like, I started thinking about it, and I thought maybe these people are right. So when I got out, I got in contact with a publisher out of New Jersey, and I had the book published. So this book is now available worldwide. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, through my website, um, all the bookstores in New York City, all the major brands. You got Walmart carrying my book. So the book is readily available out there. So I did that, and then not too long ago, because for me to stay sober, I got to be busy. Even though my business, which is landscaping, keeps me busy, I still need to do more things. So I thought I'm going to get into a second book. So I wrote this second book, which is called Addicts in the Shadows. So this one here is a book of real stories from real people. So there's 13 stories in this book, all stories of people like myself or yourself, or people with addiction. I got their real stories. They offered to write their story and put it in this book with me. I also did some drawing. So whether it was a coke addict, alcohol addiction, meth addiction, sex addiction, porn addiction, all these addictions are in this book, and I managed to do a little drawing of every story to give the reader my interpretation of what I see in this story in a picture. So that's what you kind of get out of this book, and I've found it very helpful. These are both my books, and I still read them myself. Like I've probably 15 times into this one, and probably 30 or 40 times into my DOC. My DOC I like to read on Sunday. I'll just sit down and read over it, because again, it is my breakup letter. So it reminds me of how that relationship is over, and how I've been able to move forward ahead and be where I'm at right now. And like I said, I'm great. I have not relapsed, but I do think about drinking. I can't lie. Every day I do think about having a drink. And when I think that, honestly, the one thing that's getting me through is I see how much success and how my life has gone since I became sober. And that thought and the way things are going is what I think about, and how that's going to keep me to move forward. Because when I think about going, relapsing or going back to drinking, the first thing I think about is, if I do that, it's over. It's over. I'm going to lose all this hard work, everything I've done. It's going to be over. And you know what? I may not make it this time, because, I know if, that first drink, it's over.
I've heard a lot of times it said, I have another relapse in me, but I may not have another recovery.
And that's true. It's true. It's a very serious thing. I mean, it takes so much to stop, and to become sober. But I mean, every day's a battle. Like they say, just for today. Yeah. I 100% agree. I only focus on today. I don't focus on tomorrow. When people like my brothers, they still drink, they still party, and they'll ask me, they're like, you think you may have a drink tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm worried about today, man.
Yep, I can drink tomorrow, but I can't drink today.
Oh, I can't think about tomorrow or next week or the following week. I'm only worried about today.
Exactly.
I got 24 hours. I'm focusing on this 24 hours. 8 hours of my day is sleeping. So it's narrowed. I got it down to 16 hours. If I can handle 16 hours,
yeah,
right. I mean,
we're going through that book by Russell Brand, and one of the things he says is you don't have to stop eating all the chocolate for the rest of your life. You only have to not eat it today. You don't have to quit drinking for the rest of your life right now, just for today. Yeah. And it's just really an amazing, the 24-hour, at a time, yeah, one day at a time is really profound in a sense. I mean, like a lot of people just future trip, and they future trip so hard that they screw up today. And we have a little saying, I'm sure everybody's heard, but if you got one foot in the past, you're tripping on the past. You got one foot tripping in the future, you're pissing all over today.
Yeah. And there's another, why you said it, there's another saying that my counselor told me when I was inside. He'd say it all the time. He would say, one too many and 1,000 is not enough.
Yep.
As far as, drinking, he'd say that. He's like, I always remember that. He's like, one is too many and 1,000 is not enough. And I'd
So
be like,
true.
that is so true.
It is.
It is so true. It's it's crazy.
I would always go to the point because I was never that one's too many and thousands never enough. And I would never be high enough. I would never be drunk enough.
Yeah.
And I would drink to black out. I would use meth until my body just shut off when I was using meth. And I'm never high enough.
Yeah.
And until I get too high and then I'm like tripping out because I think I'm going to die. And then I come down and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not high enough. That phenomenon of craving the big book talks about,
Yeah, no, it's amazing what your body can endure, and because over the years and over the times you've gotten used to it, and you've like as far as receptors, I mean, you're just used to what you're doing, and it's true, it's just never enough. So you're always taking more and always taking more, and never enough, and eventually, sadly, that's what leads to death.
Yep.
Because we don't know. We don't know. And you wouldn't know because by then it's too late because you've done too much.
So true. All right, it is time for our Discord questions of the day. Pull that off. And the Discord question of the day comes from Michael Teeter.
Boop, boop, boop.
He says, how does one know if they're addicted to something? This was from my friend's daughter. And I think if that question was proposed to you, a lot of people ask me, hey, I don't know if I have a problem with alcohol, but how do you know if you have a problem with alcohol? And I'm like, if you're wondering, you probably do. But what do you think, Jamie? How does one know if they're addicted? Mo, we're going to leave all the Fleece is going to drop some in the comments of where we can get Jamie's books. And we will I dropped his website. If you go into our Discord, we got a channel called Biblioteca. Inside there is our books and all that kind of stuff. I dropped Jamie's information in that channel as well. So just go to the Biblioteca in the Discord and you'll find his information in there as well. And
if you're not in the Discord, I'll drop the link.
Yep. Definitely join the Discord. But Jamie, how the heck do you know if you're addicted to something?
Well, that's and that's a very good question. Myself, I mean, hey, it took me basically 26 years to figure out that I had a problem. I always knew I had a problem, but I could never admit it, right? I mean, I would say, I was that guy. I'd be like, I'm good. I don't have a problem. People would be like, you drink a lot, or it'd be like, it's only 10 o'clock, man. Like you're already having a pint. I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? So, but over time, right, I'd be like, I do have a problem. So slowly you start to basically realize and talk to yourself, and you do realize at one point that I have a problem. You need to admit it. You can't be afraid to face yourself in the mirror. Basically, look at yourself and say, you have a problem, and you need to fix this now. That's it. I mean, that's how I did, and I think that's how it's done. It's at some point you're going to realize that you have a problem, or others around you are going to tell you, but it doesn't matter what people around you tell you. It's when you tell yourself, and you have to admit it to yourself. Stop hiding, stop wearing a mask, and admit it to yourself that you have a problem, and reach out and go get the help. Nobody else is going to help you. You got to do it. You have to do it. You're the only one. You have to take care of number one, and that's you. And you go out and do it for yourself.
That's true. And there's also the physical. I mean,
yes.
Obviously addiction becomes a problem and it kind of sneaks up on you. You don't realize that you're addicted, but I like with meth. I was just having fun and partying because I like to party and get high. And then all of a sudden I was using meth just to be normal. And it took 10 times more just to get high. So your body tells you when you're addicted. If you get all of a sudden, you go without whatever substance, even nicotine or caffeine, your body tells you if you're addicted. Like caffeine, for sure. Every morning I have to have a cup of coffee. I don't have to, but I choose to. And I am definitely addicted to caffeine and lean on that for energy. And without it, guess what happens? I get a headache, or, I'm tired or grumpy. And it's because my body is physically addicted to those chemicals. And so your body is a huge red flag. And then when it starts getting into that Is it ruining your life? Is it getting in the way? Is anything you're doing right now getting in the way of a life you want to live? You see a better life, you imagine a better life for yourself,
Yeah.
but then you're stuck concentrating on addiction. How am I going to get my next bag? How am I going to get my next drink? Me and Jamie, we would have walked through 10 feet of snow to the liquor store if our car was broke down, just to make sure we had enough wine or whiskey or beer in the fridge. And I know that, look at the stuff and the energy you expend on your drug of choice, whatever it may be, from chocolate, nicotine, to sex, to whiskey, right? And everything in between, heroin and meth. That, it's really easy to tell. And if you're wondering about it yourself, then, you probably do have an addiction.
Absolutely. When it becomes the most important thing in your life, above everything else, so your family, your kids, your wife, your work, your school, whatever you're doing, when all those things, those very important things in your life, are put aside for your DOC,
aside,
you have a problem.
Yeah.
You have a problem. That's it. There's, you can't deny it. And you got to deal with it.
So I want to hit on your prison experience. You said you spent a total of 5 years throughout the course of your life.
Yep.
Kim, she posted a comment that says, I wonder when our justice system is going to wake up and realize that incarceration is not the solution, nor helpful to those with substance abuse, right? And how easy it is to actually get drugs in prison. And I agree with that. So what is your experience with, did it hinder or help you in jail? Like you paid your debt to society, and was it a correction?
Well, as far as, was it a correction? Yes and no. I mean, in some way it was, but in many ways it was not. When I mean, over the years I spent in prison, it made me not a good person. I mean, I'd go in there, I'd be getting into fights, hanging out with the wrong crowds. For me, I was hanging around with bikers, because a lot of my friends are bikers. So being in there, with the influence and rule of bikers, I had to do some things, and a lot of things that I'm not proud of today, but I did them. So it didn't correct me; it made me worse, over time. And I did 5 years, periodically throughout different times of my life. And as far as my addiction, it didn't help my addiction. I was addicted, to, like Coke and alcohol and weed at the time before I'd go in there. And when I went in, it didn't really bother me, because there was just as much drugs inside the jail as there are out on the street. And I figured a way how to get it, because I just decided to work for one of my buddies inside and sell it. So I sold it. I was able to get it. So going into prison didn't help me with my addiction, and definitely didn't help me become a better person. Absolutely not. I mean, all it really did is make me think about what my life, where my life was going. I did a lot of thinking, but that's all I was doing, is thinking. It didn't do anything else. It didn't help me in any way.
Right. Same here. I got scared straight. I had a 1 to 15 hanging over my head, did a year in jail, violated probation. And then I was back in front of the judge, and I got one more chance and got let out to a halfway house. But I was scared straight, because I didn't want to go to prison for 15 years. But the day I got off probation, instantly I was smoking pot all day, every day, which it didn't tell me anything, teach me anything about my addiction, or, or make me self-aware of it anyway. Cause they tried to teach me, but I was a knucklehead. And then I became a raging full-blown whiskey alcoholic from 35 to 40. Kim says, a mom who watched her 21-year-old son caught up in the justice system since 14 years old. I know he has responsibility, but they don't care about his disease. His jail time is like a revolving door, just being on probation. And I see people like this all the time. I'm involved down here with our community in the probation office, and I sit there every Tuesday from 1 to 3, and people who just got out of jail, out of prison, out of the halfway house come through there, and we offer support. We offer, and so they are taking steps. I want people to be aware that the city is trying to fix these things. Like, this is what's called a re-entry fair. This lady set up last year, and these guys can come out of jail and they have all the resources they need to get back on their feet. They get a free cell phone. They get signed up for healthcare. They get helped getting their driver's licenses and IDs and bus passes, whatever they need. And then they're introduced to some peer support programs, to some other programs that I'm involved in. So it's a big work in progress. We're cleaning up the Sackler mess and the alcohol mess and all that kind of stuff. She says it makes sense for someone. What was that other comment she had? My son's completed treatment 5 times and he's still using. And I'm sure me and Jamie can relate to this one because Jamie's, 5 years in and out. Yeah. I did my 1.5 years in and out, and then used until I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, destroying my relationship with my wife, tearing down my house. And like Jamie said, looking in the mirror and just like, look at me. Look, I can't pick up 20 pounds without my legs shaking, Yep. What do you think, Jamie?
No, and that's just it. I mean, it's just yeah, I agree with you. It's just basically a revolving door, a continuous revolving door, just basically going in circles. Nothing really, changes. It only gets worse.
Completed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 times straight completed.
Yeah, I was good at telling them what they wanted to hear. So it's easy to complete them, but then you get out and like, what'd you say you did, Jamie? Like as soon as you'd get out, you were back to drinking like that day, pretty much.
Yeah, like whenever I go to jail and then I'd get back out, even though I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do good things, and I make promises to myself. And as soon as I get out, I was basically lying to myself the whole time because it wasn't too long before I was right back at it. And, again, right back into doing crime to make money because when I get out of jail, I have no job, need money. So, make the phone calls to, the guys that, that I knew that could, hook me up with doing things. And, it was, again, right back at it. And again, not too long back in the system again. It was just back and forth, in and out. It's, at some point though, like the last time I was in prison, the last time I got out, I was looking at some longer time. I was looking at 10 years. And at that point, that's when I was basically kind of put myself in how you said when you were looking at that 15 years, I basically scared myself into smartening up, starting to get better, stop hanging around some of the guys I was hanging with, lost some phone numbers, and slowly kind of got better that way. And then obviously I met my wife, and my wife has been my main supporter, and she's definitely my rock. And since I met her, my life has been 100% positive. All the stuff I did in the past is in the past, and really the only thing I really had to focus on and fix for myself was my DOC, which I managed to do it, and now I'm sober, and staying sober, one day at a time. But at some point, there is hope. At some point, good things will happen. You just can never give up on yourself, right? I mean, a few times I did give up on myself, but when you don't give up on yourself and keep your head up, and stand up tall and fight, I believe everybody has it in them to be able to accomplish what they need to do to get better.
Agreed. She says, any words of wisdom of how I can respond positively while my son is incarcerated? She says, I'm going to stop now. I realize the court's probation is serious now. And that's probably a quote from him. I maybe assume. I don't believe him because I know how strong the addiction can be. Agreed. I don't know what his drug of choice is, Kim, but just know that there's an audience watching. There's a Discord full of people. There's a AA and NA rooms full of people who have successfully quit. In your position, you were kind of in a similar position to my wife, where she wasn't an addict and I was, and she had to stop enabling me. And I don't know your situation. I don't know what your guys' relationship is. I'm just telling you my story. But as soon as she stopped enabling me is when I really just turned around quick. And we didn't even realize she was enabling me. I didn't, we're just going through life. She's going to share a link that may help too, that helped comfort you.
May not, I don't know.
One thing that I've come to realize working with drug addicts and alcoholics like myself over the last few years, and I've been dealing with tons of them since we're worldwide now, and we have our local program and I'm involved with that, is I can't put more energy into their recovery than they do. I'm there for them when they need me, when they're ready and they need me. So if they pop in and like, hey, I need a meeting, let's go to a meeting. I'll share, hope with them. I'll share food with them. I'll give them rides to some extent where they need to go. I'll never give them money. But if they're ready to come to my program and they want to ride there, I'll pick them up and we go. We'll sit and have our talk. And if they disappear, I'll reach out 1 or 2 times. You doing good? And if I can tell I'm getting blown off because I'm back into addiction, I just let it go. I don't put my heart into it to where I get wrecked. And you can't, I know it's your son, and the depth of the love for that is so much different than what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, you can't put more energy into his recovery than he can. You're just going to hurt yourself.
Well, she says he's on crack and fentanyl, and they're only doing 30-day stints. That's not enough time.
Yeah, he's got to have enough time for his mind to start thinking clearly.
Yeah.
He needs at least 6 months clean, but he's young, and hopefully he gets sick and tired of being sick and tired, or sick of that lifestyle before the drug. We have a saying, jails, institutions, or death. And it's always one of those 3. And the worst one obviously being death. And it happens a lot. I've seen it a lot. What do you think, Jamie?
Absolutely. There's a lot of like when you're talking about the death, there's a lot of people dying from addiction. I think about this stuff every day. I had many of my friends in the past die from overdoses. Many of my friends were also murdered due to drugs and that sort of stuff. With drug deals gone bad or shot by police officers, that sort of thing. So what you said about like this individual here, as far as 30-day sentences, it's true. You need way more time for recovery, and basically, never give up. I mean, you just can never give up on yourself. At some point, again, reality is going to set in. When we don't know that, but it's going to happen at some point. Reality is going to set in, and and you got to work for it. Again, nobody can really help you. This is a one-on-one within yourself to pull your shit together, be strong, and face your demon and battle and win. That's it. At the end of the day, it's your life. If you don't do it, you're going to die. So that's the choice you have. You're either going to live or you're going to die. Which one do you want? That's how I was thinking. I chose to live, and I want to stay living. So, I stay sober today.
And the way we stay living is reaching out and finding a community that supports you, no matter where you're at.
Yes. Locally,
where you find your tribe digitally, reach out to people. When you hit that bottom where you're tired of it and you want to be done with that lifestyle, pick up your phone and call your support system. And you'll want to, and you sometimes you won't want to actually too, but there's a whole huge group of people across this world in all walks of life and in every local town and all over the place on the internet that are here to help.
Yep. Nowadays, there's so much technology. We've got Zoom meetings. We have, NA meetings. There's so much available right now as far as help. All we have to do is reach out. Like you said, we don't always want to reach out for help, but when you want help, it's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody can make that excuse or say that I could never, that there was no help out there. You have your phone. There's phone numbers or 1-800 numbers you can call. Again, online, you go on Facebook, There's hundreds of groups available. Join a group. Join Zoom meetings. The help is there. You can talk with other addicts. I found that helps me. I'm in many groups, and many times, I'll just randomly post stuff. If I'm thinking about something, or a post of somebody will pop up on my phone. I'll read it and I'll make a comment because I can relate. And then I get a like, and that person will talk to me like, you know what? Thank you for that. You helped me you made my day. And I'm like, you know what? You made my day because I made your day.
Yeah.
You got to get into the groups. You got to, I find that helping people is the way to go. If I help somebody, it's helping me. I feel good. That person feels good. They are, hopefully they're going to pass that on, help the next addict. We can all help ourselves out here. Absolutely. Addicts can help addicts. I'm a 100% believer in that. We can all help each other. We just need to talk. Let's get together in these group Zoom meetings. Let's talk about it, figure it out, and let's solve the problem.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
With our last 5 minutes, let's hit one more question and then we'll get to the challenge of the week. So how does pride and ego, Mo asks, how do pride, ego, and shame stand in the way of asking for help? That's easy for me to answer because that was me to a T. As addicts, we tell ourselves we don't have a problem, that it's going to be and we have this imagination that one day it's going to be okay and we're going to be able to use and drink responsibly, and it never happens. It's almost an excuse to get drunk that night because you're going to lie to yourself that tomorrow you're going to handle it. Pride and ego is being vulnerable. It's being honest, and you got to work an honest program or you're going to fail no matter what. I've seen people come and go out of our program here locally that they present themselves as this high mighty person in recovery, the one that has all the answers, and in real life they're not working an honest program, and it shows eventually, and then they fail. So you have to be able to bare your soul to people, drop your ego, and then shame, and then you work on the shame and that stuff through that process. Right, Jamie?
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Everything you said that's the recipe. As long as you follow that recipe, you will be successful. But without it, you're going to fail. You have to have truth, and you have to be truthful with yourself and honest. That it starts with that. You have to be honest with yourself, and go for it. It's not easy. When people ask, they always say, well, is it easy? And I'm like, no, it's not easy. It's going to be hard as hell. You may fail. You may fail a lot of times. You know what? I failed thousands of times before I won this one time, and I'm hanging on to this one win. And I'm hanging on to it for life. But I failed many times and many times before. That's why I'm winning now, because I learned that failing really does suck, and I didn't want to fail anymore. So it's that's the mentality you have to go with it.
Yep. So I asked Jamie for a challenge of the week, and he suggested that we journal this week. So all week, if you haven't been journaling, it's time to get your book back out. And if you didn't know what to write about, we got something for you to write about. So we want you to think about this. What do you like and dislike most about yourself? So what do you like the most, and what do you dislike the most? And you're going to write about that. Jamie, you want to explain this challenge?
So basically, in this challenge, what I'd like people to do is basically, sit down and think about the things that you like the most about yourself, and the things that you dislike. So separate that in two different categories. On one side of your page, you write down the things you like about yourself, and on the other side, what you don't like. So write all that stuff down, and then once you have everything written down, it may take you a couple of days, but have that all written down, and then go over every one of them one by one and compare them from one column to the other. You're not mixing and matching. You just
Houston, we have a problem. Jamie has froze. He has timed out. But yeah, so it's really a path of self-discovery. What you're going to do is find everything you like about yourself and everything you dislike about yourself. Write about it this week, and let's talk about it in the Discord. And Teeter, if you're listening, and maybe add this to your Zoom meeting agenda. Just say, hey, we've been practicing this journaling. Start really thinking about what you dislike and what you like about yourself. And then if he ever comes back in here, we will finish as to why that is. And he's back right there. We'll remove this one. There you are.
Yes.
All right. Not sure what happened.
So,
whole screen went black on me here.
yeah, it's all good. You froze and I kept talking for you. So write what you dislike, write what you like, 2 different columns. And now you're comparing the 2. And the goal of this is what type of self-discovery?
Well, the whole point of it, of this little exercise is basically to compare, and by comparing, basically what you're doing is comparing the good with the bad.
Thanks,
so
Heidi.
Right. So look at all the good and look at all the bad. And this should kind of help you, to help you become a better person, just by looking at what you wrote down and try to better yourself. So wherever, if you wrote down something like, let's say one thing you dislike about yourself. So let's say I wrote down, I tend to be rude when talking to people. I tend to, be rude or that sort of thing. Well, in a separate column, why don't you try to fix that? So if you put down, I tend to be rude, write down something that's going to say, well, what can I do to better myself in this situation alone? And just focus on every single situation differently, and come up with a solution for the ones that you dislike about yourself. And by doing so, you'll actually kind of make yourself better. It'll help you figure yourself out.
Agreed, brother. I love it.
Yeah, like a lot of times that's what it boils down to. We don't know ourselves, and obviously being in active addiction, we really don't know ourselves. So, do this little exercise, and that should help you. I mean, it helped me. It makes you think, right? It makes you think.
100%. So Jamie has 2 books out. He's got one on the way, a biography. If you go into the biblioteca in the Discord, you can find a link that will help you get to his books. I'm going to grab this link right now and post it in the chat so that people can check it out right after we are done. We're going to say the live or the Serenity Prayer, and then we are going to bow out of here. Jamie, is there any last comments you want to leave with anybody?
No, just it was great being here tonight, and thank you for having me on board. It was great to have this opportunity to speak with you and your wife and everybody that's listening in. Again, thank you for having me, and I'd love to come on board again and talk some more. I always like to talk.
Yeah, definitely gonna have you back a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna pray out of here with the people in the Infiniverse as well.
Oh, nope.
John V. Oh, one more up.
One more up.
There we go.
Bounced on me. There we go.
Oh, I clicked it off. Shoot.
I got it.
All right, God,
God,
grant me the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
All right. Amen. Thank you, everybody. John V. always says we recover better together by staying safe, staying sane, staying strong, and staying sober. You're worth it. Good night, family, and I love you all. And we here love you all. And we will be back next Sunday night at 8 p.m. going back through our book with Russell Brand. And you can bet we will have Jamie back here again and again and again. And make sure you go check out his website, check out his books, snag you one up, and maybe we'll do that one after we finish this Russell Brand. We'll get one of Jamie's books and go through it on this live stream and study that a little bit. But until then, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.